Hello Seoul Byters! We are back yet again with another recap of ILAND episode 2. In the last episode, we saw 16 trainees voted to get into the ILAND. The 16 trainees to make it into ILAND were Gonu, Nikki, Nicholas, Jongwon, Jake, Sungcho, K, Sonu, Youngbin, EJ, Daniel, Sun, Hisong, Jae, Sunghoon, and Taki. If you missed out on the first episode of the Survival Audition show, you can catch up with our ILAND Episode 1 recap. See links down below. In Episode 1, everything was new, and everyone was being all awkward and nice. Fluffy is what we would call Episode 1. This fluff disappeared instantly by Episode 2, guys. Prepare your heart and mind for what could be considered as the most intense audition show ever. If you recall last week's premiere, the trainees had an internal voting, of which 16 of 23 members were voted to the island. However, since the facility can only accommodate 12 members, they had to, do another round of voting to remove the extra 4 trainees. So, who was voted off to the ground? Well, receiving 10 votes, Kim Sonu was the first trainee voted out. Sungcho and Taki received 9 votes each and were also sent to the ground. Lastly, with 6 votes, EJ was eliminated. I guess the biggest surprise that came for us was probably the fact that Nikki actually voted his friend Taki out. He reasoned that, out of the 16 of us, I picked him because I thought he was at the lowest level. This left many viewers wondering if their friendship is perhaps one-sided. So there you have it. Our first group of islanders is finally formed. And they are Nikki, Gonu, Jongwon, K, Sun, Daniel, Sunghoon, Jae, Nicholas, Hisong, Jake, and Youngbin. Now, to recap, the ground members, also known as grounders, are Hanbin, Taki, Jimin, Jaeho, Sungcho, Kyungmin, Jaebom, EJ, Taeyong, Yeonu, and Sonu. The islanders' first mission is to perform Into the Island. This is their signal song. Each trainee's performance would be assessed individually. However, an average of their total scores will determine how many of them will be eliminated from the island. The islanders had to do everything themselves, which is probably likely meant to be a test of their team efforts. Emotions ran high as the members had to vie against one another for the different parts. Part 1 being the most important center position. Nikki showed promise in perfecting this part of the song, yet his song was chosen for Part 1. Frankly, we could understand why many members preferred his song for this role, as he is, after all, Big Hit's trainee ace, and has shown potential skills in his previous performance. Following after, Gonu and Jae both wanted Part 2, but everyone chose Gonu over Jae. Sadly, Jae had to go through the same event for every single part there onwards. He became visibly upset over time and finally said, "I don't know, I'll just do whatever is left. I don't want to do it." He even admitted over an interview later on that he seriously felt insulted, angry, and ashamed of his plight, considering that he was a trainee for 3 years. Seriously guys, can we blame him? I would have felt the same too if I was him. It got us thinking, what makes Jae so unpopular with the other members? Perhaps they consider him as a threat? I guess we would never really know, huh? To summarize, the group's consensus for the parts are as follows. Hisong was voted as the center, with Gonu getting Part 2, Jongwon Part 3, K Part 4, Sun Part 5, Daniel Part 6, Sunghoon Part 7. There was frustration from Jae, who continually kept trying for the better parts, but not getting voted for them, until he was finally given Part 8. Nikki, Youngbin, Jake, and Nicholas were given the remainder parts. Hisong did his best as a leader and helped everyone with their shortcomings. However, Newbies such as Yongbin and Jake couldn't keep up with Heesung's training. Yongbin even cried as his feelings and pride was hurt. Kay, Son, and Nikki couldn't agree more, and soon the members decided together to discuss the problem at hand. Heesung tried to encourage the team. We can't have concerns right now. If you gave someone authority, we're in a situation now where we just have to trust everything they say. We have no time. However, Daniel responded by stating the fact that there is an obvious imbalance that can't be changed. Heesung acknowledged Daniel's concern, and Heesung confessed that he kind of predicted that this would happen. Okay guys, come on. We smell some jealousy here. Heesung actually respected the group's decision and gave up his center role to Nikki, and in exchange, he will perform only a one-liner in part 10. In a private interview, Heesung revealed, "I really worked even harder for my team, but I think that has rather become an arrow back at me. Everyone has a complaint or something they don't like about me, so I didn't want to keep doing this while also enduring that weight." Yo guys, I have absolute respect for Heesung now. At only 18 years old, he actually sacrificed his position for his team's needs. While the Islanders were training for their big test, the Grounders were asked to individually perform their signal song. It was clear that this was a chance for the best performing Grounder to go back to ILAND should any Islander fail the test. K-Bomb unfortunately forgot his lyrics halfway through the song and panicked. The other Grounders consoled him by reminding him that he had put in his best efforts. Ahead of their official test, Rain popped over to mentor the trainees. The trainees were totally caught off guard at Rain's performance evaluation procedure. At first, Rain asked the boys to dance. Before they could even catch a breather, Rain immediately asked them to sing. And right after that, he told them to sing and dance all together. This was done in such a quick consecutive order that the trainees could only do so much in such a short time. Performance Master Rain was quick to point out that Nikki is skilled at dancing, but is very much lacking in singing. He cautioned that the center position has a lot of high-pitched notes, and that a poor delivery of this could affect the overall image of the group. Once again, the group gathered to discuss and mostly wanted to give this position back to Heesung. Heesung, however, made it clear that the only reason that he would go back to the center is if everyone agrees. Nikki started tearing up and was quite frustrated with the situation. Okay, drum roll! Can you guess who ended up in the center? Test day arrives and Rain got a shock instead. Nikki remained in the center position despite Great Stage Master Rain's recommendation. Aside from Rain and Zico, 3 other judges, namely Son Song-duk, Wonder Kid and Dubu, were invited to review the performance. Grounders watched intently as the Islanders performed. The Islanders showed an impressive performance on a beautiful stage that actually moved to the song. Can you imagine though, singing and dancing super hardcore moves while the stage is moving? Considering they are just trainees and some even newbies, we thought their performance was well done. However, our judges seems to think otherwise. The team gathered around and watched their individual scores displayed randomly. All were shocked to find that their average score is only 59. Do you know what that means? That just means that half of the team was to be eliminated. Nikki instantly felt burdened by the score and said, "To be honest, I think I was the problem. I just feel apologetic." All in all, episode 2 is definitely not fluffy. It was intense and not for the weak-hearted. Islanders and Grounders alike should now be clear that they are in this show to build a team and not try to go solo. Some viewers think that Mnet's editing made it all more political. Frankly, we don't see this. Do you? In fact, we feel that the show is just raw, and we quite like the fact that the trainees are not pretending to be some fairy idols. So, who do you think will be voted out? Stay tuned for our next episode as we reveal the turn of tides. Tell us what you think about the show and leave us your comments below. Like our video? Please remember to subscribe and like down below. Your support means means a lot to us and is very much appreciated. Till next time, Soul Biters. See ya!